Hi Year 8. So this quick video is looking at using adjectives correctly in Spanish. Now obviously in Spanish they have masculine and feminine, which is something that we don't have in English. So I just want to talk through that a little bit to show you how we would use that in a sentence. So the work that I'm looking at is worksheet number 2 from your first week from term 5. So it's week 1, lesson number 2, and I'm going to look at task 5 to start with. And we're going to work through task 6 and 7 as well. So each of these, this is just looking at the meanings of some of these adjectives, and I said that you were allowed to look these up if you didn't know, so there was no reason to leave any blanks, but I'll just whiz through these. Divertido, we should remember, is fun. Activo is a near cognate, it looks like the English active. Barato, if you didn't know that one, you couldn't find it on your vocab list, then you should have looked that one up. That is cheap. Educativo. Now this looks a bit like educative. That's not quite a word in English, but educational. Now it's really important that it's educational, not just education. Education isn't a describing word. Okay, you wouldn't say basketball is education. You would say basketball is educational, okay, because it's describing basketball. Emocionante. This one people always get wrong. This is not emotional. It's exciting. Entretenido. It looks a little bit like the English. Entertaining. That one was on your list. Gracioso. This one looks a bit like the word gracious, but it doesn't mean gracious. It means funny. So you've got 2 there that look like one thing, but they're actually something else. That's called a false friend, okay? So you think that you know it because it looks like English, but that's not it. Fácil, easy. Difícil, difficult. Duro means hard, okay? So you can use that in the same way as difficult. Difícil, duro, basically the same meaning. Caro is the opposite of barato. This one is expensive. So we might describe horse riding, for example, as expensive. Tonto is stupid. I'm going to come back to this one because it's a fancy one. Peligroso, dangerous. And una pérdida de tiempo, if you didn't know this one, it's a waste of time. So these last 2 are, I don't believe they're on your vocab list, but if you do want to use those are a little bit higher level, so looking more towards GCSE style language. So if you are going on to next year to do GCSE Spanish, then those 2 will be really good for you to start practicing. So those are all your adjective meanings, and as you can see, some of them we've got end in O, we've got 1 or 2 ending in E, we've got a couple ending in L, and we've got one here ending in A. Now, una perdida, this is a waste. So this one, perdida, is not technically a describing word because we're saying a waste, which is a noun, it's a thing. So this one will not be involved in any of the changes. But we're going to look at what happens to the others. So, if we were describing something feminine, entretenido, we should remember would change to entretenida because O goes to A. That's our rule for masculine to feminine. Gracioso, exactly the same rule. Graciosa. So that's if we're describing a feminine sport. So la equitación, la natación, la gimnasia. Emocionante and interesante both end in E. So there is no change for those. So E just stays as E. Interesante the same. Fácil and difícil. Now sometimes when we end in a consonant, we add an A to it, but we're not going to do that for either of these. These are also going to stay exactly the same. Okay, so the only ones that we really need to worry about is our O to A. If we have a plural, which is the question at the bottom there, we're going to add an S on these ones with the vowel, and if we've got a consonant, we're going to add ES, okay, whether it's masculine or feminine. So let's just put that into practice with a couple of sentences. So each of these activities, we've got to work out whether it is masculine or feminine, singular or plural. La equitación, so that's horse riding. If I was to describe that, I might say it's expensive. So caro is the word for expensive, but this is la equitación, so it has to be cara. El piragüismo is canoeing. I find canoeing quite hard, so I'm going to say duro, and it's el piragüismo, so our O on the end is fine. Los artes marciales, I think they are exciting, that's martial arts, so I can say emocionante, but it's los, it's more than one, so I'm going to add an S on the end there. El patinaje sobre ruedas, roller skating, is active, activo, and that one is masculine, so we've got an O on the end. La navegación, sailing, I'm going to say is entertaining, entretenida, because it's la navegación. La natación is swimming, and I'm going to say that is easy, fácil. Now it's feminine, but I don't need to add anything on the end there. And el ejercicio is exercise, and I'm going to say that that is fun, divertido. O, because it's el ejercicio. So hopefully you can remember when you need to change your adjectives, whether it's masculine, feminine, singular or plural, and make sure you apply that in all of your written work.